I'm your host, TaSheena Braxton, and I am on a mission to disrupt the industry standard that fancy titles make leaders and teaching my clients how to become leaders and get their own seats at the table. Every week, I will explore a topic that impacts women of color. I will unpack the topic and provide learning so that you can feel equipped to step into leadership. I went from laid off to an entry-level job to a mid-level multiple six figures role where I wasn't the highest on the org chart, but I was able to sit in rooms with CEOs, CFOs, and CMOs without a fancy title. As a mom of 4, a wife, and the eldest daughter of 6, I know what it means to lead in every aspect of your life and to be able to translate that into the workplace. Welcome to the Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. So glad to have you here. Now let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. This is definitely an episode that you are going to want to take notes on. So if you have the ability to take notes right away, get your pen and paper out, get your iPad, whatever it is that you take your notes, and be prepared to take some notes. If you are driving or walking and you just cannot take the notes right now, maybe you're exercising, it's all right. Come back and listen to this again, because I guarantee there are going to be some gems dropped today that is going to help you if you are a very busy woman who needs help managing her time. So let's talk about why this topic is important in the first place. So in my research, when I was doing some research, I found out that women of color are disproportionately affected by unpredictable work schedules. In fact, women of color experience unpredictability 18% more times than their white counterparts, whether they are male or female. Yes, 18%. And on top of that, we spend 22 hours of unpaid labor caring for our families. So just think about it. If you are working already 40 hours a week, half that time is added onto the 40 hours to just spend time with family, to do the mom or the dad thing, to go to sports events, to care for a loved one, a parent, an ailing parent, or anything that has to do with families. And so what that means is that we face our distribution of time is inequitable. The work distribution is inequitable. And it's really hard for us to predict our schedules. And so what we tend to do is react to what's happening day to day, hour to hour. And we aren't really telling our time what to do for us. We let our time to tell us what we have to do. It's kind of like when you go into either a Costco or a Target. I hope you're not shopping at Target right now, because we are not shopping at Target right now. However, if you are going into a Costco or a Target, what you'll find is that you walk in thinking you're going to get one or two things, and then all of a sudden the store has told you what you need to get. All of a sudden you need all the things, right? We don't want our time to operate in the same way. And so because we are inundated with so many different, time constraints or time pulls on our energy every single day, I created this method called the time budget method in order to help us. But before I get into that method, I want to talk about some of the more common ways that we have learned to manage our time, and talk a little bit about what gets in the way of those things from us really being able to put it into action and follow it. So the first thing is called the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. And this is a method that tells us that we should only focus on high impact work that delivers the greatest impact. So just think about it. It's almost like only go for the things that are going to create a full ROI that's going to be the grandest, greatest things. And I think to a certain extent, that's important. Like, when you're thinking about your review, when you're thinking about how you communicate your wins, you do want to talk about those things that deliver the greatest impact. And in order to talk about those things, of course, you have to be able to focus on those things of greatest impact. However, this tool feels more like a prioritization tool than it does a full holistic time management tool. And so it only meets us to a certain extent when, say, we know exactly what we want to do with our time, we're telling our time what to do, and then we prioritize. And this is where the 80-20 rule, or they also call it the Pareto principle, may work. The second thing is called the Pomodoro technique. Now, this one is about working 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break, and then working 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. Now, this is trying to manage your energy. It's trying to help you take moments of rest and breaks so that you aren't getting burnt out. However, where I think that this method kind of misses the mark is that it doesn't take into account the neuroscience behind context switching or task switching. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but whenever you are stopping and starting and stopping and starting, it actually is almost like multitasking to the point where now your productivity is being diminished and you're actually not focused in the way that you should. And so again, this is a great method if, say, you are doing sprints and you're doing sports, right? But whenever you're doing work that needs heads down focus, it is really hard to stop and start because it takes a moment for you to get back up and running. And then we have the third one called the Eisenhower matrix, which is a 2x2 grid that you use to help you decide what to do now, what to schedule, what to delegate, or what to eliminate. And again, this is another method that feels more like prioritization, which of course is part of time management, but it shouldn't be the first thing you do if you haven't already told your time what you want it to do. So all of these methods work in certain contexts, but these are methods that you are reacting to the external environment versus telling the environment how it's going to play or how it's going to work for you. And then it also picks up maybe in the middle at a place that we haven't done like the pre-work before we get to these things. And so it can feel harder. It can feel like you're not able to really, take these methods and put them into action. And then that, my friend, leads to us kind of just going wherever our time is going. Wherever the wind blows, we go, right? And whenever this is happening, it gets harder for us to keep up. And then we fall into these cycles of buffering, procrastination, and avoidance. So let me walk you through what these three things mean. So the first one is buffering. Now, buffering happens when we put off the things that we need to do and we do something else. And usually that something else is a waste of freaking time. I like to say when you are doom scrolling on social media sites, instead of maybe studying, as I tell my children, or maybe you're supposed to do heads down work and get some work done for work, like maybe you have a presentation you need to do. Instead, you start doom scrolling. It's a form of buffering. It takes you away from the thing that you need to be doing. But the reason why you even go there is because you're like, oh my God, I have so much to do and I don't even know how to manage all the things that I have to do. So I'll just waste more time by doing this other thing that's still going to make me waste even more time. Hope you understand that. Then the second thing that we do is procrastination. Now, with procrastination, this could be a coping mechanism. And we usually start to have this coping happening when we are forced or when we believe that we have to be strong, resilient, we can't give up, we have to keep hustling, we have to keep going, we gotta, up all night crew, we're just gonna do it, right? And so what ends up happening is that there is literally like an amygdala hijack in our brains, and it stops us. We freeze. We go into this freeze where now we are procrastinating, and it shows itself by over preparing, by people pleasing, or by waiting for permission. And you know what happens when you're doing all those things? It's almost like there is like this barrier or this bottleneck, and we don't move. We don't move forward. So now we're slowing down. And so now we're slowing down, which is a form of wasting time. And now we can't get to the other things that we had to do in the first place. So now we feel overwhelmed because, oh my God, 3 hours just went by as I was waiting for, so and so to give me permission, or 3 hours went by and I was just over preparing and I was doing this one thing that I literally didn't have to do, but I felt like I had to be over prepared because I need to be seen as competent and smart. And it's just this cycle that we go through that stops us in our tracks. It prevents our career from moving forward. It doesn't allow us to show up like the leaders that we are. And it doesn't do any good. There isn't a benefit to this. And the third thing is avoidance. Avoidance is pretty self-explanatory, but I like to say whenever you're avoiding, it's when you're trying to sweep it up underneath the rug and act like it's not there, whatever that is, and try and hope and pray that nobody else will bring it back to your attention, that nobody will remember. And so we just literally avoid it. But the problem never goes away. It just starts to pile up. When you see like those old movies where papers are piling up on someone's desk, this is before internet and emails and stuff like that. You have to print everything. Some of y'all may not be old enough to know that. And I'm an earlier born millennial. So, I have seen that. I've seen how it was where papers are stacked up and we think that somehow the papers will go away, but they just keep the stack just keeps getting higher, right? It's the same thing that happens when we are avoiding. And so we don't want to stay stuck in our careers. We want to make progress. And if we continue to stay in this cycle where we are buffering, procrastinating, or avoiding, or even when we're trying to follow these outdated methods of time management, we are going to be watching other people make progress and we're still going to be stuck in the same place, all because we didn't figure out how to get our time in check. And so this is why I created the time budget method, because this method is literally something I have started using and then I teach my clients to use as well, because it takes who you are as a person holistically. It starts at the deepest root level so you are able to execute effectively and manage your time more effectively. So when you think about the thinking here is I was thinking about, man, like when we have finances, we like to budget our finances. We like to tell our money what it's going to be used for and where it's going to go. Well, the same thing should happen for your time. You're going to take that same approach and you're going to tell your time what to do. So here are the 5 steps of this method that I tend to use. It includes baseline, batching, blocks, buffers, boundaries, and beliefs. First one is baseline. Second one is batching. Third one is blocks. Fourth one is buffers. And the 5th step is boundaries and beliefs. And yes, you go in this order. Okay. So let's break this down. Let's talk about what each one of these are. So the first step is called the baseline. Now, this is where you're going to be looking at how you are starting off. You are going to do a time audit and you are going to get real with yourself. Where is my time going? What appointments are on my calendar? What activities am I doing? What travel do I have? What administrative duties do I have? What social and time commitments do I have? What are those things that I already am doing on my calendar? And I want you to write those things down. This is you creating this audit currently as it is. This is your current status. This is where you are, and you want to be real. Please do not try to eliminate anything, because if you don't create awareness and you don't let that event know that you see it, it's going to creep up and it's going to be the very thing that's going to be the stacks of paper on your desk. Okay. So you really want to put everything down. So that's the first part of baseline. Now, the second part of baseline is you are going to tell your time what you want it to do for you. This is where you're going to write down, this is what happens with my time. This is what you're going to do for me. Okay. Now, the easiest way to do this, instead of just like pulling it out of a hat, is you could break it down in these 6 different areas. So the first one is social and leisure. And so what do I want to do as far as socializing or leisure time? Maybe it is going to a museum. Maybe it is reading a book. Maybe it is watching TV, Netflix and chill. Like whatever it is, what do I want my time? I want my time to give me more time to be able to watch Netflix movies every Saturday. That's you telling your time what to do. The second one is career. What do I want my time to do as far as my career? Maybe it is to get promoted. The third thing is financial. I want my time to save $500. I want to be able to save $500 every month. I want my time to be able to manage my money. And I have a date every week, every Friday with my money. The fourth thing is spiritual. I want to be able to go to church every Sunday. The fifth is physical and health. So I want to exercise every day for 45 minutes on my Peloton. And then the fifth is relationship. I want to have a date night every week, or I want to have a date night at least once a month, whatever it is. Or I want to spend more time with my friends. I want to talk on the phone with my friends. Whatever it is for you, I want you to say what it is, or what is your goal, what is your intention for these areas. And I'll say the areas again. The first one is social and leisure, second, career, third, financial, fourth, spiritual, fifth, physical and health, and sixth, relationships. So that's the first one, is baseline. The second thing is batching. So as you are thinking about your calendar, I want you to put similar, like-minded things together. So you want to say, what are the activities that are similar in nature? For instance, if you have a couple of different things that fall into your health and fitness task, so this could be exercise, food prep, weekly massages, journaling, like these are the things that help you for your health and fitness. I want you to batch those things together. Okay. So right now you're just saying, you're taking these things and you're saying, these are all the things that fit in the, the financial. These are all the things that fit in the relationships. These are all the things that fit in the career. Whatever it is, I want you to batch it together. And now the third step is blocks. You are going to take your calendar and now you're going to start blocking out time every day of the things that need to be on your calendar. You're going to literally probably block the reoccurring events that happen, because of course things are going to pop up and that's okay. But again, we're telling our time what to do. We're not allowing anyone else or anything to dictate how we run our time day to day. And so if you start off by putting the recurring events on your calendar, you can easily say, I'm sorry, I already have something at that time. You could fit it in at this time. Okay. And so you want to be able to do that. So let's start with your reoccurring events that happen, or the things that you know that you're going to commit to every week: exercise, going to church, spending time with friends and family, doing date nights, whatever those things are that you are committing to that you're going to do, I want you to block it out on your calendar. Whatever the times are, you're good. Now you see it on your calendar and you might be thinking, okay, this is good, right? But here's one of the most important things that you want to do, which is the fourth step, and that is buffers. Buffers are what you put on your calendar before or after an event. This will give you the time you need to prepare for an event or to wrap up your thoughts after an event before you head to the next thing. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but research tells us that when we are transitioning between tasks, which is referred to as task switching or context switching, or like we like to call it multitasking, this can reduce our productivity by 40%. 40%. Okay? That is a lot just from switching tasks. And the reason why this happens is because our brains need time to adjust focus between different activities. And then when we're interrupted, it takes an average of 25 minutes just to return to our task or to return to an original task. So adding buffers of 30 minutes before or after task is important so that you show up to your activities focused only on that event, because you've already kind of got that last event out of your mind and you are ready for the next thing. You've taken the notes, you've downloaded the notes, you've finished wrapping it up, and now you can move on to the next event. Okay. So when you go back to look at how you blocked out areas in your time, now I want you to put 30 minutes in between those different tasks. Okay. Now you're going to say, like, there's a lot of things on my calendar. Oh my God. Like when I put those 30 minutes, it had me working from 8 to 8. No, you're not going to work from 8 to 8. That's when you can look at it and say, okay, I need to move this to another place. Now I can say, oh, I need to prioritize this over this, or, I need to do something different, because we are not working more than 8 hours a day. And hopefully there comes a point where you're only actively working maybe 6 hours a day, and the other 2 hours is more like downloading, resting, wrapping up your day. That's the ultimate goal. Okay. So you want to make sure that you have the buffers so that you can be focused, so that you're not losing your productivity because you are switching tasks. And last but not least, the fifth step is boundaries and beliefs. I always say there are two things that are going to get in the way of keeping you focused and into the schedule, keeping you from doing your goals. And they are other people and your brain. And now I use other people loosely because nobody can make you not be focused or to get in the way. But I'm just going to say, just go with me here. Other people and your brain. So this is something that I deal with all the time. I deal with this all the time with my kids alone. Like, if you've ever heard the phrase, my kids tell me what to do, or my life is my kids' life, you know how true that is, because there is always something unexpected that comes up. And it could be sports, it could be doctors or dentist appointments, it could be school events, it could be anything. They all of a sudden get sick on a day, you have to stay home from work, or just anything happens and they have you on a string. You have to do what they say, right? Well, we can kind of minimize that if we have already set up our calendars in a way that provide us the flexibility to be able to move things, right? And so that's why you have to set boundaries. You have to be able to set the boundaries that you need that's going to bring your stress levels down and honors your values and how you need to rest and how you want to be able to take control and to take your to reclaim your time. Okay. We all want to reclaim our time. So you have to set those boundaries up. Those boundaries are for you, but it's your trade off decision. If this happens, then this is what you're going to do. And people are going to be people. They're going to do what they're going to do. But I want you to maintain those boundaries. So if your child comes to you the day of an event and says, Mom, I have this event after school, you're either going to say, okay, I have the flexibility. I've already made the trade-off decisions. I'll be there. Or you'll have your boundary that says, you were supposed to tell me 3 days in advance because you're old enough. This is mostly for the older kids. But you were supposed to tell me 3 days in advance and you didn't. So I'm not going to be able to go to it. Maybe I'll drop you off, but I'm not going to be able to attend because I have something else on my calendar that I really have to do. Now, and in no way am I advocating for you to do things over the events for your kids. However, what I am advocating for and using this as an example of how you have to have your own boundaries, because the context switching is real and so is the burnout. And so we want to prevent that. So is the overwhelm. We don't want to get there. Okay. Which brings me to beliefs, because this is a part of something that, you're going to have beliefs about whether this is going to work, whether you're being mean because of your boundaries. You're going to say, am I being too formal or too strict with my time? You're going to have beliefs. Okay. Some of the thoughts or beliefs that I hear often is, I just have to do it all or it won't get done. It won't get done the right way. So I'll just do it. Or if I tell people no, they're going to see me as difficult, not easy to work with. Or I don't have time to focus on myself because there are too many people that are dependent on me and too many things I have to do. So I really can't focus on what I want. Or there is no point in doing all this planning, TaSheena, because something is always going to come up. So why even bother? I literally hear this, right? And these are all beliefs that we're making about time. And we're thinking that these beliefs help us get time back, to reclaim our time. But actually it adds time. It adds to the overwhelm. It adds to the burnout. It adds to the just going where the wind blows. It adds to not being able to tell your time what to do. And now your time is telling you what the heck you're going to do. And so if you are having any of these thoughts, I really want you to ask yourself this question. Whose values am I honoring with how I spend my time? Whose values am I honoring with how I spend my time? Is it my values or is it someone else's? This question is going to help you uncover that. Whether you're doing something out of obligation, survival, people pleasing, and it's going to bring your brain back to focusing on aligning with your values. Because the way you decide to use your time, the blocks you put, the buffers you put, the boundaries you put in place, they all align to your own values. So if you're doing something out of obligation, you're doing it out of a reaction and you are not honoring your values. So it further reflects, like, as you reflect on this question, whose values am I honoring? It is going to tell you if you are trying to meet someone else's definition of success or your own. So what is success? What is successful? What does it mean? And so as you're thinking about this and you're reflecting on it, I want you to create new beliefs that is going to help you, literally, it's going to help you turn to when you are having these mental, emotional, or physical blocks where you feel like you can't keep going. The new beliefs are going to help you keep going. So I want you to think about, if I'm having these beliefs, if I think I'm the only one who could do it, if I think I can't spend my time on myself, create a new belief that aligns more with your values, do these reflection questions, and then keep going, okay? Because you can do this. This is not hard. So here is what I want you to know. Time is an asset that once you use it, you are not going to be able to get it back. It's the one thing that can't be recycled. When yesterday is gone, it's gone. It's in history now. And so that is why it's important that you are able to create your time budget and you tell time what you want it to do for you and not the other way around. So I want you to try this time method, this time budget method, and do the 5 steps. I'll remind you what the 5 steps are. You want to document your baseline. You want to create blocks of things that are important. You want to batch these things together. You want to create buffers in between those blocks of time. This is going to help you literally minimize the cognitive overload that can happen when you are context switching. And then you're going to create the boundaries and beliefs that you need to keep you on track. Okay? So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you are able to reclaim your time, get your time back. And if this was helpful, please leave a comment. Please check me out on social media in any other spaces. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and now I'm on TikTok. So any of those places, come tell me how you're doing with your time management tool. And if you are somebody who want to work further with me because you're like, TaSheena, I need to get myself together. I'm tired of being overwhelmed. You have 4 kids. How are you doing it? I want to learn from you. Click the link in the show notes and connect with me to set up a sales call, a discovery call, and then let's talk. On this call, you'll be able to tell me about any of your obstacles, what's going on for you, and then I'm going to tell you some strategies that you could implement and how we will work together to really dive deeper into those strategies and execute on them. So, hope this was great. Go do your time budget, and I will talk to you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like, follow, and leave a comment. Share with your friends, family members, and other women of color leaders. Inside my one-on-one leadership coaching program, I will help you become the leader that you want to be with work-life integration and peace. By tapping into networks, growing your visibility and confidence, you will go from untapped, unseen, and underrepresented to attracting opportunities to take your career and your life to the next level. I use an equity-centered lens in my approach so that you feel seen, safe, empowered, excited, and committed to attract, create, and land opportunities in an unconventional way. To work with me, join my email newsletter, or to learn more about me, click the links in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to being your coach. See you next week.